Now, if you guys are subscribed to my channel and you guys watch most of my videos, which I'm sure all of you guys are at this point, or at least I'm hoping so, then you know that pretty much every single day or so, I buy the same, more or less, few stocks and ETFs to stack into on my long-term portfolio, slowly building up positions to hopefully reach my larger goals of total yearly and total monthly dividend income sometime in the future. But on certain days like today, where I have a small liquidity event and I have some more cash balance than normal throughout the portfolio, I might make a bigger purchase in the portfolio, which is exactly what I did today. Today, I purchased 100 shares of one of my favorite ETFs that I've been wanting to build up a larger position of over the last few months, but I haven't really got to it. And with purchasing these 100 shares plus, I not only increased my total monthly and total yearly dividend income substantially, but also this position is now becoming a larger portion of the portfolio after this buy. So if you want to see which ETF I purchased 100 shares of and spent over $5,000 on in one single trading day, then definitely stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. If you are a dividend investor who wants to level up your portfolio, you need to be tracking your dividend income consistently. And that's why I created the perfect dividend tracker that I've used to scale my dividend income up to all-time highs over the last year. Now, along with this dividend tracker, you're also going to receive my A to Z dividend investing ebook, which shows you how I personally started from $0 several years ago to now where I earn over $7,500 per month in dividends. So if you want this tracker and the ebook, go to the first link down below in my description and grab it today. So maybe some of you guys guessed it, but the ETF that I purchased 100 shares of today and I spent $5,277 on is the NEOS Nasdaq 100 High Income ETF, or ticker symbol QQQI. Now, this ETF has not only been on my radar for a while, but I've also already owned some shares of it in my portfolio, although I own a lot more of SPYI, the other NEOS ETF, that I've been talking about basically nonstop ever since the beginning of this year. Now, I'm going to go through and share with you guys why I purchased this ETF, how much forward income this adds to my long-term portfolio, and what I think about this ETF long term as far as a position, but I want to go through the ETF, explain how it works, and sort of get us all on the same page here. Now, this right here is the fact sheet for QQQI right from the NEOS Funds website. It says the NEOS Nasdaq 100 High Income ETF seeks to generate high monthly income in a tax efficient manner with the potential for equity appreciation. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. One of my main goals in my long-term portfolio is to earn a lot of income basically ASAP, but I also want to do so as tax efficient as possible, sort of as a bonus, and then along with that, if I can have the portfolio grow over time even a little bit, that'd be an absolute bow on top. So the fact that this ETF's objective is basically what I'm looking for, again, it's not really a surprise on why I've been adding a lot of these NEOS ETFs in my portfolio. Now, to learn a little bit more about how the ETF works, it says high monthly income generation. QQQI aims to generate high monthly income by investing in the constituents of the Nasdaq 100 index and implementing a data-driven call option strategy. Now, a few things on this. For one, I always tell investors, especially newer ones, if you want to invest into an ETF, understand what the ETF holds on to. Understand how the ETF works. What's the strategy? What's the objective? Is it tax efficient? Is it not? Now, an example of this is that I personally do want more exposure to the Nasdaq 100. I think having exposure to the Nasdaq 100, especially through an option strategy like this one, offers the potential for some upside, but even if not, offers the potential for a ton of income basically from day one. And this is because the Nasdaq 100 is relatively high beta and there's a lot of juicy premiums to be had. Now, along with this tax efficiency, which I also mentioned is important to me and probably also a lot of you guys, this ETF utilizes the NDX index options classified as Section 1256 contracts, or 60% long-term and 40% short-term capital gains. And fund managers may seek to take advantage of tax loss harvesting opportunities along with that. Now, it also says upside potential. This ETF aims to capture a portion of the Nasdaq 100's upside when the index rises, which we've seen as of recent. So we're actually going to have an idea of how the ETF has performed because, let's be real, the Nasdaq is up right now. Now, lastly, it says professional option management leverage the deep expertise and research of NEOS, combining decades of experience managing options-based ETFs. Now, again, you and I can go out and sell options. We can go out and buy options. I personally do in my portfolio. I bet a lot of you guys do as well. But the reason I'm a big fan of some of these option-focused, income-focused ETFs is that, for one, you can get exposure into these with as little as just one share, which would be way cheaper than doing it on your own, but also let the professional do their job. At least that's my take. Now, before we go in and actually show you guys the performance of QQQI and share with you how much forward income this is adding to my portfolio, I also wanted to show you this. And this is from the NEOS Funds website also. This is a supplemental tax. It shows right here in connection with the monthly dividend of 61.16 cents per share. And this was payable back in November 21st, for example. It says that it's anticipated that 99% of such dividend will be return of capital. Now, this is by no means a tax video. I'm not giving any investment or tax advice, obviously, but let's just say return of capital could be something very important to certain investors out there. At least it is to me. Now looking at how QQQI has traded since inception over the last year or so, the ETF in the max time frame since around January of this year, so it's almost been trading an entire year now. It's basically been trading more or less sideways, let's be real here. It's up 4.77%. Now ever since September, since the Nasdaq has been ripping, yes, the ETF is up a tad, it's up around maybe 2 or 3%, but more or less these higher income focused ETFs, in my opinion, are probably going to trade more or less sideways just because of the way that they're made up. Because you see with option overlays, there's going to be a captured upside if the market really rips, but the fact that this ETF does sometimes buy index options could also help with that. But more or less my take is that if this ETF is going to pay around 12 or 14% yield as far as distributions per year, do it tax efficiently, I'm going to be completely honest and say that I don't even care if this ETF goes up 1 penny. Even if it traded sideways, I'd be pretty happy with that. Now to look at the previous payouts, we're looking at anywhere from 61 to 64 cents downwards to 59 cents per share since inception, which means that even on the lower end of things, if I'm getting paid around 59 cents per share per month, that's an extra $59 of forward income that my portfolio is now going to see every single month from just 100 shares of this ETF, which again costs around $52 per share. Now that's not only going to help my portfolio compound that much faster, but it's a substantial starting yield, like I said, at around 14%, which is of course one of the main reasons I've been wanting to add more of this one to my portfolio. This ETF yields a little bit higher than that of SPYI. It yields higher than JEPQ. It yields higher than QYLD. This is one of the highest yielding, safe, in my opinion, Nasdaq 100 high income ETFs across the market, at least from what I've seen so far. Not to mention since inception, and keep in mind this ETF has only been trading for 0.83 years, so we don't have that much data to go off of, but since inception it's up around 18%, and this is with dividends reinvested around 17% with the knots. So at least over time so far, this ETF has offered a positive total return basically every single time frame since inception, and does offer a high quality strategy that, at least unless anything changes here, I definitely believe in. So for those reasons and more, I decided to add 100 shares of QQQI to the portfolio, making it a somewhat larger position, because previous to this buy, I think I only maybe had 100 or 150 shares across my entire portfolio. And if we were to compare that to my 1200 shares of JEPB or my 600 shares of JEPQ, this is a relatively small spot. But all in all, I'm a huge fan of the NEOS ETFs basically across the board so far, and this ETF is no different, which is exactly why I added so much to my portfolio in a single day. So now that we went through and I shared with you guys why I decided to add 100 shares of QQQI to my long-term portfolio, I also showed you guys how this ETF works, how it generates so much income consistently, etc. I lastly, most importantly, want to hear from you guys down below. Are you personally a fan of ticker symbol QQQI, and do you have any shares in your portfolio? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. So if you want this tracker and the ebook, go to the first link down below in my description and grab it today. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.